Hi guys, this video is very important. Kisco came out this weekend. Kiss all the time, disco occasionally, Harry Styles' new album. We're not new here, we're all on the same page, okay? I have not listened to it yet. For some reason in my brain, it was released Friday night, not Friday at midnight, you know, the beginning of the day. So it was like 12:15, Nate and I are laying in bed. I saw Harry Styles' new Instagram post saying that the album is out now. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't listen to it right here, right now, because I wasn't expecting it and I was tired, all the things. So I went out of town, visited Bestie Brooke for her baby shower and her birthday. I have spoken about the album to everyone that I know. They've all listened to it. They've had mixed reviews. They all know that I am one of several biggest fans. So some of them have been waiting for my feedback, such as this video. So not only am I doing first impressions, but I'm also tier ranking, which we will get into in a little bit. I do have to just talk about a few things. So starting off many moons ago, I was in grade 7. I had a few friends in grade 8. I visited one of their houses. They happened to be watching the One Thing music video as I walked in. They were like, oh my goodness, you haven't seen One Direction? I'm like, no, I haven't. And then they said, well, we dibs Niall, Liam, and Louis. Each of them picked their boy already. So they said, you can pick out of Harry and Zayn. And I went, well, I want Harry. So Harry has literally been my draft pick since the One Thing music video, not the What Makes You Beautiful video. I'm sorry, I'm not a day 1, I'm a day 2. I can admit it. And I'm technically a day 3. Gotta be used. There's not a music video, I think. But a day 3 is pretty decent for Harry Styles, okay? So I'm coming into this video with knowledge, background, history. I have never fallen off. I remember in high school, I think it was like the end of high school, when Harry released his first solo album. I feel like I was one of the only people who listened to it. But I just remember some of my classmates were like shocked when Harry's music was good because they just assumed that it was like childish. People admitted this to me, by the way, saying it to my face as I openly listened to it myself, but I digress. Here I am, many moons later, still listening to his album releases, and this time using that knowledge to help all of you guys, whether it's choosing which songs you should like to, if you and me have amazing similar taste, or pure entertainment. So getting into the tier ranking list. I'm gonna move over. What side should I move over? That's a good question. Let's go this way and I'll put the tier ranking on that side. So first, I have shut the fuck up. That just means like, stop. Harold, I can't. We get it. We get it. Next, I mean, duh. I don't know if I can go into further explanation about some of these, but you just get it. I mean, duh. Like, of course, that would be a Harry Styles song. Of course, I'm obsessed with it. It might not be shut the fuck up. Like, I should not be here. I should not be listening to this. I should be born in a different time because I don't deserve to be here. However, I can still acknowledge that it is Harry Styles. Okay. It's ultimately a Harry Styles song and I will be obsessed with it. Next. Hey, nothing wrong with that. Is it my absolute favorite? Is it even my top 2? No, but I have no flaws. I see nothing wrong. Next. Have I heard this before? This one might sound a little niche, but maybe it's more like it's not feeling very special to me. Nothing is jumping out at me. It's kind of like I could pick a different Harry song and be way more excited to listen to it than this one. And then lastly, it's giving She, because back when I have done my first impressions, She was a skip for me. Harry does not release skips. That is not a thing. However, when Fine Line came out, She was a skip at first. I love her now. She's probably still my least favorite on the album, but she's definitely not a skip. Like, I will actively look up the song and listen to it if I'm feeling for the vibe. However, it was a skip, okay? I'll say it with my chest. And just in case there is technically another skip on this album, I left a spot for it. Do I think anything's gonna go in there? No, because there has been one skip out of 3 albums. I'm not good at math, so someone else can do it for me, but I feel like the chances pretty slim. Having that said, I don't want to get into it yet because now I need to go over my favorites. I need to see if me and you are compatible. So let's go through all of his albums. I'm not going to go crazy here. I know that all of the songs are good. I will go through and tell you which ones are like instantly like, yes, I could listen to that every single day on repeat until the end of my life, and I will have no complaints, nothing to say. On his self-named album, 100% my favorite song is Woman. always has been Woman. And then I do find I listen to Sweet Creature a lot and Sign of the Times. That's one thing I want to say about Harry too. I was talking to someone about this recently. I hate radio music, truly. Like any music that I can hear, even if it's not actually on the radio, if it sounds like it'd be on the radio, my body just like doesn't like it. But for some reason, Harry doesn't have very many songs that like actually irk me like that. And if I hear it on the radio, I'm like, yes, I get to listen to Harry Styles. So Sign of the Times being one of his top hits, one of them, and being a radio song, crazy that I love it. Next, Fine Line is my favorite album. If you're wondering, I really like Lights Up. It's not my favorite. For this album, I usually flip-flop between Cherry and Fine Line as my favorites. Fine Line, Fine Line is like the other half of my soul. Is that dramatic? No, I don't think it is. Just like, I actually, like, okay. I'm speechless when it comes to Fine Line, truly. Truly, so I actually can't talk about that any further or I will start crying. However, although that is my favorite song probably of all time, one of my favorite songs of all time, I have several, it's definitely my favorite Harry song. When it comes to like which one I listen to the most, I flip-flop between Cherry and Fine Line because they're both fairly heart-wrenching, but Fine Line is just like, I can listen to it at any time surprisingly, but if I listen to it too much, then I actually start like having some detrimental side effects. So then I swap to Cherry, which is just a little bit more uplifting. Canyon Moon is one of my faves on that album. And then like an honorable mention is Treat People with Kindness, just because it's so different and fun, and that's the reason why that is my favorite album. Okay, lastly, Harry's House. I actually did not listen to this album in order the way that's intended. I just kind of one day shuffled it as I was cleaning and then I just started like learning the songs. This album, my favorite is Matilda and Boyfriends. Matilda is like kind of like a little too heart-wrenching for me now, so I try not to listen to her as much. Boyfriends is definitely my favorite. I like the fun poppy style of cinema, which I've heard Pop on Kisco has similar vibes, and I think I like Keep Driving and Love of My Life. Those ones are like good road trip songs, which I love. Okay, I could go on for a long time, but I think I need to start. Okay, this album is only 42 minutes, so it shouldn't be too bad, but I have already listened to Aperture, obviously, when it came out, but I will just give it another listen because I've never thought about where I would place it on this tier list. This tier list might be so difficult and it'll probably change during my second listen of the album, to be honest. So this is like truly just my first impressions. Okay. Why am I scared? I should have gotten snacks. I have watched this music video as well, obviously. I am, in fact, listening to the lyrics, reading the lyrics of every single song too. Okay, I had to pause it to tell you this. This part of the song just reminds me of the Penguins of Madagascar meme of people dancing. Also, I want to know what aperture means. I actually don't know what that word means. An opening, hole, or gap. A space where light passes in an optical or photographic instrument, especially the variable opening by which light enters a camera. Okay, I finished listening to Aperture like a minute early just because I've already listened to it before. But I will say this one's tough because I have already listened to it. So this isn't a first impression because I know that my first impression of this song was worse. Not that I disliked it by any means, but I definitely was like, oh wow, that's very different. But now that's like so Harry Styles coded to me because he's been on that vibe for the past like 2 months. So I feel like Aperture should go... I feel like everything is gonna go in I Mean Duh, but like that's a good song. I would actively click on that song to listen to it. It's giving radio song, but it's not giving a radio song that I would skip. Okay, I want to put Aperture like in the middle of I Mean Duh and Hey Nothing Wrong With That, but now I'll put it in Hey Nothing Wrong With That because I have a feeling I will like a lot more songs better, and I just can't tell if I like that song a lot because I've already listened to it several times, whereas the other songs have an unfair disadvantage because I haven't listened to them before. I'm gonna skip because I want to hear the transitions. That's how an album is intended to be listened to. You can't just hit next. You need to let the songs play through because they transition so well. So next is American Girls, which I have seen all over Instagram. That is the one that people are using as their background songs. another intro like that? No complaints, but Falling, Fine Line, and I think Sunflower all have an intro where it's like, oh, this is a good song. I need to fix this angle, sorry. This is a good song, I fear. Why not Canadian Girls? Oh! I need to pause it there because I realized that once the lyrics stop, it needs to transition to the next song. Listen, I am not a professional anything, quite literally. I watched this one guy, I'll put a picture up of him. I totally can't think of his name right now, but he actually is like a vocal coach, I think, and he reacts to songs and stuff, and he does a very good job. I'm not gonna have any of that, okay? I'm just here for vibes. I will say the lyrics get a little repetitive, as we know, which does happen in some of his songs sometimes, but I think this beat is so good and I really like the chorus that it's kind of like all of his other songs that do have repetitive lyrics, where it's kind of like you're not there to listen to lyrics, you're there to have a good time, and that's what this song is offering, I think. Unfortunate that it's American Girls and not Canadian Girls. As I said, your friends aren't in love with Canadian Girls? We have better healthcare, better gun laws. Anyway, I won't get into it. I think that song is, I mean, duh. That actually makes me want to lower Aperture. No, I don't think there's anything wrong with Aperture. I think that is a perfect spot for Aperture. That is a perfect spot for American Girls. Let's continue to Ready, Steady, Go. I just want to say I am irked that he did not put spaces between the commas. Ooh. There's no transitions. All of his songs, well, so far, the 2 songs have ended with no, you know what I mean? This one's fun. Oh. Oh. Whoa. This sounds very like... Didn't that kind of sound kind of like Spanish inspired? Whoa, what language is this? That was Italian. Okay, hold on. That's the rest of the song. I don't think you could hear that, just in case for some reason you're not looking at the lyrics, which I'm sure if you're watching this video, you are a lyric reader, but just in case, you couldn't hear it for some reason, but in the lyrics of that one, it switches from Ready, Steady, Go to Italian. I don't know why you couldn't hear it. Maybe my speaker's just bad, or my ears. That is cool, because I swear earlier in the song when I pointed it out, like the background, like rhythm, sounded like Spanish inspired. So this one is giving multicultural, apparently. No transitions. Oh, I forgot to, hold on. I forgot to tier rank that song. I think because I liked it less than American Girls, I want to put it with Aperture. Because I feel like I need to reserve Shut the Fuck Up for like my Fine Lines, my Cherries, my Woman. You know what I mean? Like all of the other songs are great, but in that sector, like there's my faves of all time, and then there's these 2 different, it's like, okay, I love these versus I like these. That song I think was a like. I think if they did more of the rhythm that I think was Spanish inspired, maybe it's not actually, I don't know, but it kind of sounds like it to me from my very minimal knowledge of Spanish music. I think if there was more of that and they leaned into like that multicultural song, that could have been super cool, especially if like during that one Italian lyric, it kind of sounded like if there even was a lyric that someone was saying of those words, it was someone else speaking it, and I want him to speak it. I don't know if that's like, can he speak those languages? I have no idea. I actually think in his royal court interview, he did say that he could speak a little Italian. And maybe it was him and I just couldn't hear it. I think that song, they could have leaned into it a bit more because there were so many lyrics saying ready, steady, go that they could have interchanged them for different languages more than just once. But that's me being nitpicky. I think there was nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Next is Are You Listening Yet? I'm kind of not loving how each song ends so abruptly because I love when songs on albums transition so smoothly into the next one, and I haven't gotten that yet, but I digress. Maybe going forward. This is so different from his music. Whoa! Get out of here. Okay. Whoa! Whoa! Where do I begin with that? That was something that I've never heard before. Whoa! Hold on. Is this even the same song? Whoa. Okay. That does not even sound like Harry. It might be moved, but I think I have to put it in Shut the Fuck Up. I am shook. If you know me, you know I love a little guitar action. Oh, oh, sorry. That guitar was crazy. Still repeating lyrics, which is odd. I don't know if he's like purposely doing that on literally every single song. I will say the repeating lyrics on this one just at the end hit differently than the other ones. It didn't seem like it was like, oh my god, he's like trying to hit a word count. This one seemed like he was like telling us something. Like this is a hint towards something. I don't know what. I'm not much of a theorist. I'm just here for vibes. I might have to put that in Shut the Fuck Up for now. I think my Shut the Fuck Up is truly reserved for like top tier things that like reach into my soul and rip my heart out. So I think when it comes to like the more sad songs, which I think we'll obviously be getting into because that's 4 upbeat songs that we just listened to in a row, but maybe it'll move. I did really like American Girls though, so I wouldn't be angry putting Are You Listening Yet next to American Girls, but I'm just very impressed currently that that is Harold. That's actually crazy. I like songs like that by him. Like I think he does a really good job at like that plateau voice. I don't know any word. I don't know any verbiage for like songwriting or singing or anything, but that like old fashioned 21 Pilots vibe, which I don't even like 21 Pilots. I actually actively kind of dislike them. Nothing that they've done, just their music is not my type, but I can acknowledge that like they definitely kind of created, I think, like that type of music where it's like a hybrid between like pop, soft, rap, not rap, but you know what I mean? That like do 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 when delivering a line. I don't know. I think Harry just did that here and it was great. Okay, next. Taste Back. Yeah, still no transition, just abruptly cuts. Is this a sad song? No. Why is he putting all of the upbeat songs up front? Is there auto-tune in this? The rhythm and the timing of this song and slightly the lyrics are very reminiscent of a One Direction song. And I don't think any particular One Direction song, I just think this song was like heavily inspired by his like memories of the songwriting while he was in the band. Because this sounds like it could be a One Direction song in like another life. You know what I mean? Did anyone else pick that up? Okay, the way that he goes down on Baby, I'm really starting to sound like that guy that I put on the screen earlier. Love him. When he goes down on To Call Me Baby, it's giving 1975. I don't know what song in particular by the 1975, but listen to that again. And then he just goes right back to himself. Another abrupt ending. I think that's definitely been my least favorite so far, which is crazy because obviously I love One Direction and I love the 1975. And for some reason, like, two of my favorite bands is my least favorite song, but then the one that sounded like 21 Pilots, which I actively dislike, was my favorite song. Weird situation going on here. I don't want to say it's giving She because I wouldn't skip it. I would absolutely listen to it again and again because I do really like the 1975 inspired and the One Direction inspired parts, but the parts that aren't as noticeably inspired by those bands, I don't know what it is, to be honest. But I think I might put it in Have I Heard This Before, maybe. Because although it doesn't sound like a Harry song in particular, it sounds like a One Direction / 1975 song. And at least that way it's not in It's Giving She, because it's not skippable. It's just kind of like, interesting. I think this is where we get into the sad songs. So like I said, The Waiting Game was one of my favorites when I just listened to like 5 seconds in the middle. And I am ready for some sad songs because as much as I love pop disco diva Harry, I need my sad heart-wrenching Harry, or it's not even a Harry album. So I think we have been discoing. Now it's time to kiss, perhaps. Maybe even cry. I don't know. I'm kind of scared actually. Oh yeah. This sounds like a Harry song. Oh. This is so niche, but when I had a DS back in the day, I had like a Hello Kitty game on it, and the background beep 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 sounds like that game. Crazy lyric. That line tickles my fancy. It tickles my fancy. Yeah. 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 Next. Season 2 weight loss. Are we just gonna get sad? Okay, I hate to interrupt to say this, but this kind of sounds like a good song to have a heated rivalry added to. So if anyone wants to do that, and send it to me. It's kind of giving Ilya. I have chills. Look at my chills. Can you see my chills? So not a big transition guy, I'm coming to realize. That song was so Shane and Ilya to me, I don't know why. I think my brain is just always them, so you can let me know if I'm being delusional. But at first, I actually didn't really like it. I was gonna put it somewhere with like either Hey Nothing Wrong With That or Have I Heard This Before, but that's gonna be an I mean duh. Borderline Shut the Fuck Up because I got goosebumps, and it is, oh my god, it is Shane and Ilya coded. So maybe it'll be pushed up. That was pretty good. If the first half gave me that feeling as well, it would be a Shut the Fuck Up. But because it took me about at least a quarter of the song. Oh my god. Next is Coming Up Roses. So I have seen the discourse online. I haven't heard either of the songs, but I have seen people compare Coming Up Roses and Pop with like, what is it, Matilda and Cinema. It's like he gives us like a super heart-wrenching song and then like the most cuntiest diva song afterwards. I'm gonna grab my blanket. I fear that I need to be like in my element here. If it's gonna be sad, I need to be prepared.
Clocks, it's that time of year.
I turned back the log yesterday. Ooh.
Just for tonight, let's go hangover chasing. Now talk your ear off about why it's safe as I fumble my words and fall flat on my face through the truth. There's only me and you. I see your tears on the count of my wants, and now it appears backseat in your life, judging while you drive.
The instruments are nice on this album. Whoa. Okay. That was the sweetest song I've ever heard in my life. Like, would it be crazy to put it at Shut the Fuck Up? That song was stunning. Like, that was stunning. Is this a good wedding song? Like, that's a wedding song, is it not? I mean, I guess technically some of the lyrics are about like how they're not working out, and technically if you give me like, I don't know, I didn't like, obviously I can't analyze the lyrics in 5 seconds, but I think it's about a second chance, but that was a stunning song. Okay, I'm gonna put it at Shut the Fuck Up. Season 2 weight loss was so good though. Like, do I put that at Shut the Fuck Up too? Just pretend season 2 weight loss is like right in the middle, okay? Right in the middle. Okay, I need to turn my lamp on. We are getting to the end of the album. Has not been very many sad songs, which concerns me because I just fear that the last 2 songs are gonna kill me, but who knows. Let's listen to Pop.
Daytime, mainline, no more rolling papers.
Okay, okay.
Catching Katie's waiting to be your game day savior.
Another music break. A lot of like synth. I think that's what it is in this album. That was fun. Definitely like a, hey, nothing wrong with that. Maybe that's controversial, but it was fun and definitely give Cinema. And I like Cinema, but I think Cinema would even be in the same, like, hey, nothing wrong with that. But like the more I listen to it, the more I like it. So I feel the same about Pop, I think. The more I listen to it, I'll be like, yep, this is a good one. That's a good one to like sing at a concert, if only I had tickets. But next, Dance No More. Just because the word dance is in it makes me feel like this is gonna be an upbeat song. Ooh! Whoa, it kind of sounds like Prince. Am I being delusional? I like the call and response. That would be fun at a concert. I'm not gonna lie, the past minute and a half I have been so zoned out, distracted by my thoughts. So I don't know what I just looked like, but I felt like I was vibing. So I'm just gonna finish the song. Okay, I need to listen to the last part of that last song. Also, sorry if the angle changed. It's dark outside. Yes, the album's 40 minutes, but I do tend to yap, so it has been longer than 40 minutes. Oopsie. Okay, it's fun. I actually really like that, especially I don't know if that was necessarily the chorus, but like that last part there, that was throughout. I think that was the chorus. Why are my eyes like, feels like someone's cutting onions in here. My eyes are burning for some reason, but I think I'm gonna put that in, I don't know, I actually really liked that. I think I'm gonna put that in I Mean Duh. And that definitely means I'm gonna move season 2 Weight Loss up to Shut the Fuck Up. Which is crazy because I was not expecting to have 4 Shut the Fuck Ups. But this is just first impression. That will change the more I listen to them. Now I'm scared because Paint by Numbers is, I think, everyone's favorite song so far, unanimously, from the people that I've heard, maybe. And I do think that it's gonna be one of my faves. This was one of the ones that I really liked when I listened to it for 5 seconds. I think I've told you that about 5 times. But I think it's sad. Well, I hope it's sad because we have only had, what, 2 sad songs? If you can count The Waiting Game. That was more romantic, to be honest. Or no, that was Coming Up Roses. I think that's about it. Okay, Paint by Numbers. Shut up. Oh my god, the first lyrics.
Oh, what a gift it is to be noticed. It's nothing to do with me.
This is a Shut the Fuck Up.
There's a reason to believe it's a lifetime of learning to paint by numbers. American children whose hearts you break. Was it a tragedy when you told me not even 33?
I need to look up like an analysis of these lyrics after. Oh my god, why is this song so short? Like, I'm gonna have to put that in Shut the Fuck Up. I do have to look up what those lyrics are referring to because I feel like I just wasn't understanding them for what they were intended to mean. But the storytelling and the overall, like, rhythm was ecstatic. Why the hell is it only 2.5 minutes when all of the other songs are like around 4 minutes and it feels like some of the songs could have been cut off maybe 30 seconds earlier. Okay, last song, None Have Made Me Cry. Is that good or bad? I don't know, but I guess this is a disco album. So maybe it's not intended to cry. Maybe after Fine Line in Harry's house, they said, you know what? And especially Self-Named, he was like, you know what? Let's just give these guys a break. Let's see what Carla's song has to say. I don't know who Carla is, but I'm happy for her. This kind of sounds like Satellite. Doesn't it give Satellite? Hold on. Let me play Satellite real quick because I want to hear this.
I go round and round, satellite, spinning away for your melodies of time.
Like, it doesn't sound exact, but it's like vibes. Ooh. That sounds familiar to me. But I don't think it's a Harry song. I like this song. Just like long endings. Like this could have been cut off 30 seconds ago. And there's still another 30 seconds. Like they have this one going on for 1.5 minutes, but Paint by Numbers was cut short. Come on. Harold. I really like it. Probably as much as American Girls. So it has to go in I Mean Duh. Okay, I don't mind this tier list. What do you guys think? Obviously, a lot of you have probably listened to this album way more than me, more than once, perchance. I can tell that like some of the songs in my Shut the Fuck Up are the ones that will stay there. And I don't think there's gonna be very many below that will become a Shut the Fuck Up, but what do I know? Who am I to say? I don't know. Okay, overall, what do I think of the album? What do I think of the album? I do have a guilty pleasure for Harry's sad songs, so I kind of wish at least one song would make me like absolutely sob, because literally every single album has one that makes me sob. But maybe if I just listen to some of the Shut the Fuck Ups, it's funny that I keep calling it that. Sorry. Pardon my French. I think if I do listen to those, like, as Haley would say, you know, maybe smoke a joint, put your phone on your head, lay there and just feel it in your soul, maybe I could relate to some of the lyrics better. But this is such a fun album. And like, once again, no bad songs. Like, Taste Back is definitely my least favorite, I think. Obviously, I just listened to 12 songs for the first time, so do I remember exactly which one is which or what some of them even sound like? No. But just going based off of vibes. I do remember Taste Back was my least favorite, and at one point it was giving She for sure, but it wasn't skippable. Like, I remember listening to that song and being like, I want to give this a few more chances, and with She, I was like, no, that's boring my ears. Once again, I don't feel that way anymore. Love She. I feel kind of bad naming the middle tier, hey, nothing wrong with that, because I do think all three of those songs, Aperture, Ready, Steady, Go, and Pop, are higher than just like a meh. But it is funny that all three of those songs are like the most disco, I would say. Maybe not disco. The most... Does that make any sense? You get the vibe. I forget which one sounded like Prince. I want to say it was Dance No More. That one was really fun. And then I think my favorite, Coming Up Roses, was really fun memory-wise, and then season 2 Weight Loss was just like, ugh. I really liked everything about that, including the lyrics, the rhythm, the instrumentals, all of it. I really don't remember what Are You Listening Yet sounds like. I'm not gonna lie. But I thought it was a Shut the Fuck Up at the time. So that's exciting. Yeah, I don't think I have anything else to say. Obviously, it's a great album, okay? If you think I was gonna come on here and say that I disliked it, you'd be crazy. However, I know some people were disappointed, but like, honestly, I feel like I've never really been disappointed by an album. Like, even Taylor Swift's new album, a lot of people were disappointed, and I was like, I liked it. I'm just here for the vibes. If I listen to an artist, I can guarantee that I will like their music no matter what, just because it's them putting it out. And if I can just like get a groove on, or if I listen to a song and I can sob to the lyrics, either of those, I'm having a good time. It's kind of hard to like not impress me when it comes to music. Another thing, I hate when albums all sound the same. Like, whether it's a whole discography all sounding the same, or if it's one album, every song sounding the same. I don't want to bring up Drake. However, luckily it's negative. All of his top hits, which he has a lot of, those are good when it comes to like listening. Like, am I saying I'm a Drake fan? Am I a Nicki fan? I'm not bringing her up either. They're good songs. However, I don't know if you guys have ever listened to Drake's actual music that isn't on like the top 100. They all sound the exact same. There's also no rhythm. It's usually just him rapping over the same repetitive beat for an entire 3.5 minutes. And I'm like, wow, that's boring. I have not listened to Drake in literal years, but I always use him as an example of that because I just remember like way back in the day, like probably over 5 years ago, I was like, okay, well, I really like Drake's top hits, so let's just listen to all of his other music, because there's a lot of Drake fans out there. No, there's a reason why his top hits are top hits. His other music sounds literally like identical to each other. Maybe I'm being harsh, but I digress. Harry Styles, just in comparison, this album doesn't do that. All of his albums sound very different. Each of them have like their own little like sad song, pop song, dance song. And then overall, each album has like a vibe, whatever that may be. But all of them are like different, but still Harry in a way, which obviously I love. I don't know what else to say. I can't really rate the album because it's just a Harry album. I have a parasocial relationship, obviously, so it's kind of like picking your favorite kid. If for some reason you share a taste with me, or you just think I'm super fun and cool and gorgeous and entertaining, and you want to see my overall tier ranking of every Harry Styles song, including the album overall, let me know, I guess. I will not be listening to every single Harry Styles song if I were to do that video. That we would just need to go based off of your memory and my memory. But yeah, I think that's all for this video. So thanks so much for watching, and I love you.